Let's look at the origin of man. All right. Now, we know that what atheism teaches about origin of man, right? What is Darwinism teaches the origin of man. Yes, they have a lot of different understanding. They basically think that man came out of animal, or in another way, man is a social animal, right? That's what they say. But in the Bible, we see that man is created, and created by God, created in God's image. All right, so that means there is something very unique to man that we need to look at here. Okay, let's look at the first human being. We call him Adam, right? We call him Adam. The first man, that is Adam, was created supernaturally and directly. That is what we see. While we know much about it, I don't think I need to go deeper, because with the various topic and subjects we describe this one, right? God said, let us make man in our image, right? So Adam was created directly by God, by his hands, taking man, making a body out of dust, and breathing into his nostril the breath of life, and he became a living soul, and God made him in God's image, right? So we know that. So this is what we read, right? Dust from the ground, breathed in his nostril the breath of life, nephesh. All right, the Rukai, he became his breath, the life, and he became a soul, or living soul, a being. We'll deal with that later, all the theological implication of that word. First of all, Adam's creation was direct and immediate, and I don't have much to explain because this has already been discussed in our Old Testament studies. Remember, biblical creationism we discussed. We also talked about, various maybe other places, like when we talked about God and Christ. We discussed this one quite a bit, right? And about literal days, right? We discussed that. I'm not going to speak about that. Yes. God, one thing is sure, in that first creation week, God created Adam, right? Now, the major verb employed in creation was bara. Exclusively, this is used for what? Divine activity. Right? There is no intermediate for this one. Now, bara doesn't demand that man is created ex nihilo. Not everything ex nihilo. Right? Yes, but the creation of the universe is ex nihilo, but not everything. Man is created out of something. Right? Please understand how here we see God formed man. Crucial to think, right? God forms the body, and this is out of dust. And then God breathed life into him, right? So it is clearly man was created from previously existing material, right? Clearly, when God created all of the things, God said, let there be something, let there be land, let there be vegetation, let there be sun, let there be moon. But when it came to God, God did not say, let there be a man. God did not say, God said, let us make man. He did not say. All right, material of Adam formation is dust, What is dust? It simply refers to ordinary soil. All right? No way we can imply an animal ancestry. All right? All right? Don't think we have an animal ancestry. Of course, animal also dies and goes back to the dust. That is for sure. Now, here is a technical thing, maybe, all right. Adam's soul or spirit, that's the way I put. I did not say, I am not making a difference. The question it's going to be asked, how many parts are we? Do we have 2 parts or do we have 3 parts? Are we tripart or 2 parts? It's a question. Do we have body, soul, and spirit? Or is soul maybe a synonym? I wanted to say something not really common understanding. I wanted to take a different position here. I will explain that as we progress, right? I am not in the opinion that man has 3 parts. Rather, I see man as 2 parts. Why I say that, I will explain that in this theological class as we progress. So therefore, what I do here, I put the slash. All right? So man's spirit or spirit was imparted immediately to him by the breath of God. It was this act that imparted to man, and only to man, the image of God. Animal has breath. They breathe. But the peculiarity of this act is that through breathing, God breathing specifically to man, man gets God's image. Eve also was created just like that. Male and female. Right? In the beginning itself, God says, God created. How was that? Lord God fashioned into a woman the rib which he had taken from man and brought her to the man. So woman is taken from a rib. The man said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called a woman. Isha. Isha. All right, because she was taken out of Ish, man. All right, she was taken from man. Ish. She'll be called Isha, woman. That's how in Hebrew. Not that both man and woman are in God's image. Yeah. In God's image, both of them are. You know that God is spirit. God is not neither male nor female. Please. I know that God is described in fatherly terms, but there is no gender for God. If I know that you address him Abba, Father, like in a masculine way, but don't care. But in the end, there is no gender for God. Right? Pure spirit. It's pure spirit. Pure spirit. Now, preference of the scripture writers for male gender references to God is not based on any physical considerations, because God has no physical body. Nonetheless, it is simply because God's functional relationship to his creation is that ruling and leading, which is usually ascribed to the father, right? That fatherly nature, to the male. And that is the reason this is aligned with the male functionality within the family unit. Yes, that's the reason Bible writers prefer that word father and he. And apparently, under the inspiration, scripture writers consistently refer God as male. It's not because of any physical consideration, because God is pure spirit. The God sometimes is described as what? Having motherly qualities. But his predominant functions are masculine in nature. This does not mean women are any less in image of God than men. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. They are equal to man. All right. This is something we need to look at. Now let's look at when Eve was essentially in Adam, even though God formed her directly. God's hand was there directly in forming Eve. But in a sense, she was in Adam. It's not by coincidence that Eve was created from Adam's rib. It is not coincidence. And not from dust of the ground. Eve was not taken from the dust. She was taken from Adam. Had she been entirely independent of Adam, then she would have stood equal with Adam as the head of the human race. No, Eve is not the head. Adam is the head. Though she was not similarly from Adam, she was still subject to his headship over all human race. So Eve is not the head of the human race. It is Adam, right? Because only Adam was taken directly from the dust, not Eve. And all people come from Adam, not coming directly in any way, if just simply from Eve. It is joining of even Adam and Eve, but Adam is the beginning. Adam is the head of the human race. That is the reason the Bible says, through one man's sin entered, not one woman's sin, even though Eve is the person who sinned first. Eve was deceived first. Eve sinned first. But sin entered not through Eve, but through one man, that Adam. Adam is the head. Yes, this is what Paul says. 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Man is the image and the glory of God. Right? Man is what? The image and the glory of God. But the woman is the glory of man. Yes? Paul used two words. Man is the image of God. Man is the glory of God. Woman is the glory of man. Man does not originate from woman, but woman from man. Talking about the first. Indeed, man was not created for woman's sake, but woman was for man's sake. That's what Paul says. That means, logically, the next verse says, Eve was created for Adam. Right? I will make a suitable helper for him. Right? For him. It says, man gave names to all the cattle, birds, but for Adam, there was no found a helper suitable. That's not anyone for him. He looked at all the animals. None was suitable for him, a helper. So the Lord made woman. That's what we call correspondence. The correspondence that Adam sought and received was more than physical. Because all the animals were physical. All of them were physical. All the animals had bodies. But it included the physical, but also met the need someone who could be complement or meet him intellectually, emotionally, relationally. Oh, that could not be seen in animals. And to provide him with a domain worthy of his stature as what? The king of the earth. Someone who can stand up to him as the king of the earth. Though Adam was made without a deficiency, nothing was lacking in him. He could not fulfill his divinely given destiny alone. It was always with a woman. All right. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Implications. What do you need? The solidarity of Adamic federal headship over human race. All right? Adamic headship. Adam is the head. So we call federal head. Adam represents the entire human race. Right? Paul says, man does not originate from woman, but woman from man. Man has his birth through the woman. Later, yes, man originates from man, birth through woman. That's what Paul says. Acts 7:26, he made from one man every nation of mankind. Just one man. All right, so Adam is the head. All right, so all of humanity is in Adam. All right, because we are in Adam, very important that in Adam. And therefore we receive depraved souls by means of procreation. So we receive means of procreation, depraved soul, sinful soul. All of us. However, while technically Eve sinned first, she's not charged. Adam was charged with the responsibility for inherited depravity because sin entered through Adam. Man is responsible for sin, not Eve, because he was created first. He was responsible for Eve, and he sinned willfully. Adam, not Eve, is the representative head of the human race. We will talk about when we look at imputation. It's very important. Adam is the head, not Eve, not woman, not woman. All right. Number B, second implication, functional headship of men over women. Yes, not anywhere, but only in function, right? Paul says, I do not allow women to teach or exercise authority over men. Now, this is 1 Timothy. This is known as pastoral epistle, right? Pastoral epistle. How, Timothy, you should conduct in the church. How in the church things should be. That is what Paul is writing. And now he says, in the church, I do not allow women to teach or exercise authority over man, but women inquired, for it was Adam who was first created, and then Eve. And it was not Adam who was deceived, but the woman being deceived fell into transgression, right? So that is his reasoning. Creative order is the reasoning for male headship in the church. So at home, in the church, male headship, right? Functional headship. I'm talking about functional headship. It is important to note that the roles of ruling and leading for men and submitting and helping for women are not result of the fall. Some people teach that way. No, no, it's not the result of fall. Why men have the leadership? It's not because of we fell. Since the fall has become abusive in his ruling function, and women resentful of man's ruling function. Yeah, women resents man's authority, and men abuse women with his authority. But that is happened after sin. But the function itself was original before sin. Functional hierarchy of men and women in the family and in the church does not imply superiority of personal value. No, man has no more value than woman. Man has no more intellectual acumen or spiritual vitality than women. Men are not better than women any more than governors are better than their citizens or employees, better than their employees. In fact, Paul described this functional equality of men and women. He compared into the functional equality of the members of Godhead. Right? He compares that with Trinity. Trinity. That men and women, that difference and that equality and inequality. I want you to understand Christ is the head of every man, and man is the head of the woman. And look at the way he says when he said that he said God is the head of Christ. Right? Unless we are prepared to say Father is personally superior to the Son, we cannot conclude that men are personally superior to women. No. For us persons, Father is not superior to the Son. As God, they are equal. Only functional difference, right? Just like that. Just like difference between Christ and Father. That kind of functional differences, inferiority is there between man and woman. Third implication. True dignity of womanhood. True dignity of womanhood. Though woman is just as much as being in God's image as is man, men and women do not realize their true dignity in the same way. Men are designed by God to realize their dignity through ruling, right? Through ruling. Women are distinct. Learn that one. Both physiologically and neurologically and even psychologically, and have been designed by God as weaker and more dependent, more docile, and more relationship oriented. More relationship oriented. All right? It is completely different. The makeup of woman is completely different from man. The greatest dignity of a woman can achieve in society is the complementary, supporting, commiserative contribution she makes within her relationship, both to her children and her husband, and also to her extended family, and to the church, and to society in general, according to Proverbs. Anti-Christian culture rejects this view, claiming biblical view of womanhood demeans women's value. But the Bible responds to the contrary, that society has robbed a woman of her dignity by discrediting her God-given station. Friends, there are roles that only women plays that men can never play, can never do. Men can never bear a child. never knows nothing about a motherhood, right? Man has a lot of issues, and woman usually she is dependent, right? She is more relationship oriented. Now, I wanted to just say something here about what does the Bible mean when this Bible describes woman as a weaker vessel? What is that? It goes without saying that women, by the psychological design, are in general weaker physically than men. Yes, generally they are weaker. But is Peter talking about that? Peter probably is not restricting his comment to physical weakness here. Coupling Peter's comments with the Paul's comments in 1 Timothy 2, it would seem that Antiochus viewed this weakness in connected with his ruling decision-making function. Most probably, this weakness connected to decision-making function. An illustration is found in 1 Timothy 2:14, where it says, it was not Adam who was deceived, but the woman being deceived fell into transgression. So Eve's weakness is apparently connected to her native docility, compliance, easily listening to, and sensitive nature, that she can be tempted very quickly. Right? So that is psychological decision-making area where she is weaker, which caused her to sin under the duress of deception. Yeah, she is weaker in that. And it is easily she can be. But on the other hand, Adam was not so deceived. He entered into sin willfully. Willfully he sinned. You can say that Eve had some kind of weakness in that way, in decision making. Yes, maybe, or maybe there are some women can jump into action very quick, right? Yeah, you decide. Maybe sometimes some women are like that. They enter into decision very quick, right? Yeah, that is a weakness. Maybe men, because I know I have looked at, I'm saying because I have counseled, went through a lot of counseling process, have seen what happens. Yes, women sometimes can jump into action, and men may not, right? Or men may look a little more far ahead, future, yes. Women may not, but I'm saying in general. There are some foolish men and some women are far better than men, I know. But I'm saying in general, women can do that because their decision-making capacity is a little different, right? They're weaker in making decisions, not really talking about physical weakness. Maybe men are a little weaker, but that's not the issue. So this decision making, and that's when you see some are, easily get into their skin, right? They get upset very quick. You see, women are upset very quick. That's the reason that let women not teach men and be on authority, right? Because of the psychological makeup. And then we need to understand, right? Yes, while the more impassive nature of man renders him in general, I'm saying in general, more emotionally detached, right? Emotionally detached and relationally insensitive than women. Women are more sensitive, where men are less sensitive, right? And if women will pour out all the sensation to their children, where men maybe look at as if nothing happens, right? You see something happen to their child and baby, and look at how women, the mothers are just emotionally express their thing. But men will look at it and say, oh, okay, what happened? Yeah. They look at it a different way because it is different generally. It renders him in general more reason-driven and calculating in his decisions, convictions, and actions, and less susceptible to deception in his emotional sensibilities. These later qualities are invaluable at all levels of leadership, right? Invaluable. It's very important, whether military, economic, political, or pastoral. And it is for this reason that God restricts the highest leadership and teaching position in the church to men. To men. And this is very important here. Yes. So I'm saying all are equal in value, but weakness is there in the psychological makeup. Now, here is an illustration. Theological discussions of infant salvation and polygamy can rarely be conducted impassively in an audience of women. Why? I'm talking polygamy and infant salvation and discussion rarely be conducted impassively in an audience of women. Why? Because women are hardwired to be sensitive in domestic matters, particularly about husbands and children. And if you say a child, if he dies, go to hell, mothers will be upset much, right? I'm talking about husband, extramarital relationship. You cannot talk to a woman and woman listens passively. No, right? Historical collapse of missions occurred when single women entered the mission field and turned the attention of the church to the plight of the orphans, widows, and economically destitute and medically deprived, right? And what happened? Catholic movement and Pentecostal theology can be directly traced to the influence of women in the leadership of the church. And thus, church went away from the truth to emotional matters. Emotional matters. Church focus changed into planting churches, to caring for the orphans and widows and things like that, because women came into authority. This is a simple illustration that is kept here. Let's also go to the absurdity of homosexuality. Woman is the only valid counterpart to man. Only valuable. Neither an animal nor another man is suitable for compatible with man. And neither can assist a man in his original mandate to be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. That is the original mandate. No woman can. For this reason, the Bible soundly condemns all forms of bestiality, sex with animals, lesbianism, right, and homosexuality as unnatural and product of the rejection of the Creator. It is simply an absurdity. Fifth, and finally, we'll close by this one. Absurdity of human evolution. A mere existence of female gender. Yes, simply the existence of female gender is the strongest rational arguments against the possibility of evolution. No evolution can ever explain how men evolved into female. Why there is a female gender? Why? Unless we posit that males and females evolved independently. Maybe male, female came from a male monkey, and a male human being came from a male monkey, and a female, and a woman came from a female monkey, which is absurd again. There can be no basis for the evolution of the gender. There is no basis at all. Only a direct and concurrent creation of male and female can solve this beautiful issue, that is man and woman. Suggest from human evolution, in addition to denying man's need for God, destroys this solidarity, ignores original sin, leaves no possibility for the arrival of the second Adam to solve man's sins problem. Right? So what they do, they wanted to destroy Christ. The best way to destroy the coming of Christ and the salvation is to deny God's creation. All right, that's how they do. So friends, what do we learn? Yes, this is the biblical reasoning of man and woman. All right, man and woman. And everyone can understand, and we learn and we understand what does this mean. Right? That is the reason we believe in male headship at home and in church. All right.